Good morning. It is 4:24 a.m. March 13th, what I like to call Thirsty Thursday. And I'm fasting for nuclear medicine. Nothing by mouth. And I know with fasting it's always like, can I just do this little thing? And so when you're parched, yeah, I knew I was gonna get, I knew I was gonna get thirsty. So yeah, I put my, my Coke in the truck. And while I was out there, I saw the full moon, and it's a gift to always see a full moon, especially after a a major event for me. It's easier to keep the timestamp with the cycle of the moon. So, waking up this morning, what's on my mind? Oh, fear. And actually, one of the most common fears is fear of public speaking. But there's an underbelly to that fear. What I like to call the fear of reprisal. Um, these days, um, hmm, um, for the most part, as long as I don't hurt anybody, right? I walk around with freedom. Um, uh, whew, uh, before 2013, um, well, there's this period from September 2012 to uh, about March 2013 that I had to suffer the consequences for what I told someone that didn't know me during a VA CMP exam, what I thought my problem was. It was neither the time or the place, I learned, to open up. And I found myself going down I-20 back to Abilene, but in a white van, heading for Acadia in Abilene. And for the first time, I was being admitted, not voluntarily, into a mental hospital. And and in order to stop the blame shifting, the first thing you say, it's my fault. You take the responsibility. So how was it my fault? Because I did not know the panic cycle. I didn't know anything about myself. And the basic thing I did not know is, you know, how my body reacted um, to fear. Um, and and what happens when in a state of anxiety, if you have no emotional regulation, right? Um, you become a threat to society, and then society takes measures to remove you as a threat, right? Um, and like the first time around, when you're taken in custody, mm, and uh, you know, the first time I was taken into custody and put into a white van was on the way to VA Waco. And that experience was like out of, oh my goodness. It was like out of a film. The title, it can't, you know, everybody thinks about, you know, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, but no, there was another film, and I can't exactly um, recall the name of the movie. Um, and I can't really, I don't even know if it was a film or it was like a series of, like from a show. Um, all I know is, um, I think I saw a Geraldo Rivera interview when he went into a particular mental health hospital up in New York, and what they were doing um, to people they thought was a menaces to society, and all it was is they just didn't know how to give proper care. So this is like the beginning, the beginning and the end of what you cannot do to people at a mental health hospital. The horror, you know, caging people up like animals. And there's a guy online right now called Leo um, with actualize.org, and um, he talks about, you know, on the path to self-actualization, you're truly self-actualized if you can sit in a 6 by 6 by 6 box, and all that you really need as a person in this life uh, is air, food, some water, and you know, a place to defecate, yeah, yeah, a place to have waste, and if you're truly, you know, self-actualized, you would be happy in those circumstances, right? That you uh, you would be a great person. Now, this guy, has, uh, I think about the movie Altered States with William Hurt, and when these chambers were common in the 80s, where you would sit in water and basically, yeah, you would put yourself, in these chambers to be, um, reach self-actualization, right? And, I just remember that movie from being a teenager, and like, um, William Hurt doing an experiment on himself and everything, and him coming out like almost like ooze, right? In this transformation. Um, and so I'm seeing that this is the deal about living in the 80s. Man, you see the theme, you know, you see uh, it coming back again, uh, people's just ideas of wanting to reach Mecca, or wanting to be on the mountaintop like a Buddhist, the Buddha and everything. It's like, dude, uh, if you want true uh, actualization, just go through calamity, man, like a champ. Yeah, face your fears. Ugh, better yet, face rejection, man. And uh, yeah, though that's what it is today. Yeah, that is what's getting people to the point, to that breaking point, is when you can't, you don't have a place to talk about your fears safely without reprisal. And so it happens in office buildings, you know. Uh, yeah, I remember when the New York Times finally came out. No, I think it was Forbes. When Forbes came out with an article called Toxic Positivity. Like, yeah, um, you're a, you're sitting in a cubicle and you can hear your coworkers talk behind your back, and then when you get in their face, they're super nice. And man, I know that look so well, right? Yeah. Um, man, guess what? You ain't gonna get, you can't do it. You can't approach me with some toxic positivity, right? And it started, for me, it started in 2012. And I went way back when I first experienced it in the halls of Cooper High School from a teacher when I wrote an essay about Telltale Heart, Edgar Allan Poe. Yeah, I that's when I started feeling the ooze, toxic positivity. And immediately I missed, my speech coach, Coach Willis, because, I had, yeah, I had leveled up from junior high where with a speech coach, you know, I could say, I could pretty much say what I felt in public, he just provided the editing. And what, it's like, okay, uh, this is how to say that. And this, and so it was 2 years of, uh, okay, know that feeling. Okay, this is how you say it, because he was a speech coach, but he was also a football coach, right? And um, for the Longhorns, I'm a Longhorn from Lincoln Junior High, and so he just he in his teaching me speech, he taught me how to hit. like you were like you were on the football field, right? And so uh yeah, 2 years of that, I became a very confident person. But then, yeah, then it was Cooper High School. Fuck. so many, so many movies, TV shows about cliques in high school. And okay, so it's just coming of age. Yeah, but man, mm, uh, it's just coming of age. Uh, and So I remember trying to communicate to my dad, like the stuff that was going on in high school, and he just blew it off. And he said, that stuff is not important. But to a teenager, it's everything, right? And so when I couldn't, when I didn't have parents to communicate with, you know, I took matters into my own hands, right? Um, well, yeah, when I had to do Rosa Parks on the bus, right? But it was not about, you know, them putting me in the back seat. It was about, two guys that um took all the seats in the back, and then all of us were sandwiched in the front. And so I remember my Rosa Park day when I went back there, because the bus driver, went to ACU anyway. Yeah, probably on some kind of sports, football scholarship. But anyway, I was like, you know, all of us, all of us sandwiched up to the front, squeeze, and these guys were just, lounging across the seats because they just wanted to be in the back. So when the bus driver would hit bumps, they could like fly up. And no, I remember walking, looking at one. My guy was blonde, and another guy was Hispanic. And yes, I know both of their names till this day. And one of them, I know who he married. And you know, and what I had to do with the wife. You know what I'm saying? Mm. Yeah, because like you stay in a little small town and everything, it cycles through, it cycles back. Stuff from high school. You gotta face it, you know. Uh, especially if you faced it the first time, So this is kind of junior high, junior high but I was going to have to see these guys at high school. I knew I was going to have to see these guys in high school if I chose to ride the school bus. And so I was like, it's got to stop. Because I ain't doing this going to high school, right? And, yeah, all I did was sat down. That's all I did. And they didn't have the balls to push me out. Because it was just a fear of reprisal, right? So I walked through that fear, just sat down right in front of that blonde haired, blue eyed guy, looked at him, and didn't say a word. And then I have a bus full of kids looking back and see what he was going to do about it. And then the moment I did that, other people started filling up those seats, and that was the end of it. No more problems, right? It just took one person to walk through the fear of reprisal from these punks. And that's how you dethrone it, right? That's how you dethrone a punk. Yeah. That's how you start a movement, you know. But it doesn't have to, it's it's called a sit-in. Used to be. It used to be a powerful tool. Yeah. Mm. Used to be a powerful tool that, people in law school would learn how to protest, just sit in, right? And, you know, numbers, right? Uh, yeah. But see, the clique mentality is that too, right? Uh, the belief that there's more of them than there is of you. And, uh, and I think about the history of sit-ins with indigenous people, and one woman, Annie Mae, that did this in the Boston area, trying to unite uh, indigenous tribes, for their human rights, right? And what the FBI did to her, um, just, uh, just, you know, what what happens when you cut off the head, right? Like in history, what happened if you cut off the head? What happens when you make somebody a martyr, right? And so that's what I was thinking about, you know, looking up at the moon and the fear, my dad had that he would get that phone call one day about his daughter, you know, um, advocating too much, right? Mm. I don't know. My dad just had too much, too much worry about, me being taken out because he watched a friend of his just, you know, the the 50s, right? Uh, just for doing the wrong thing. Man, but I was I was talking to him about high school, and he wasn't there. He blew me off. Like, you know, there's worse things, Louisa. And I'm like, Dad, no, there's not. This is my pain, and I'm asking you for help. And so, time and time again, mm, you know, it starts a pattern, right? Um, and it's my fault because it started a pattern of behavior in me where I would, you know, I would really choose these men that um that thought they were really badasses and they weren't, right? Um and it basically it's just hanging out with jocks, right? Hmm. um yeah, hanging out with, dating football player pussies. Um, because it's more about strategy. It's more about skill, like being, after repetition after repetition after repetition, skill, uh, how to be where the ball's gonna be, because you trust it, right? From all the drills. Um, but you know, I dated guys that, somebody along the way told them they were hot shit. They were invincible. they, you know, and then all it takes to them is meeting one woman. Oh, really? It's like, uh, as Beyonce said, don't don't ever think you're not irreplaceable. you know, one more time, fear of reprisal. And uh, yeah, one thing I have to learn about work, I'm replaceable. I ain't the best they ever had. Right? You get kind of cocky, in management, thinking that organization can't run without you. Bullshit. Yeah, they can. Yeah. You're thinking like, I deliver this kind of quality, right? Bullshit. Companies don't care. You know, what they care is what they can get for the cheapest amount of money, because labor is expensive, right? So, the fear of reprisal, what we do with that, it's, it's either someone tells you you're hot shit and you go through life thinking that, or someone tells you you're full of shit and you're not worth living. And you just need to know the root cause and figure it out. With that, I can't tell you. I can only say I used the Viscit method to figure it out. Use a tool that works over and over again. Talking out loud, saying what you need to say, and then play it back, and be your own therapist. Alright, guess what I'm gonna do? Play this back. Peace out.